All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is May 30th. We got a jam-packed slate of MLB games to jump into today. Happy Tuesday to everyone out there. We're going to go through each and every game. I'm going to give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, as always, those will be in the pinned comment. Guys, go ahead and hit that like button and smash that subscribe button as well if you are new. We're still grinding and growing here, and you guys are making this job a hell of a lot of fun. So if you do want to support, just hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, probably more than you guys even realize, which I do want to let you know that I am so thankful for everyone that's ever commented, liked, or subscribed, or any of that stuff, guys. It really does mean the world. But let's go ahead and jump into this slate. We're started off with the Marlins taking on the Padres. Marlins coming off of a series sweep against the Angels. San Diego coming off of a series loss. They lose 2 of 3, the last 2 games against the Yankees here. Miami looking good. They've won 4 of their last 5. Now, their last series was against Colorado. They lost that series, but they won 1 of the last 2 games here, resulting in that 4 of their last 5 games that they've won. Sandy Alcantara gets the start today. 2-5 with a 5 flat ERA. Now, this is an amazing pitcher, as we know, and a red-hot pitcher as of last year, as we know, and he has not looked good this season, but he's going against Ryan Weathers on the mound for the Padres, who I don't really trust all that much either. So I'm going to actually back the Miami Marlins here at -125. They're playing a little bit better baseball. Alcantara, for what it's worth, they did go out there and score a boatload of runs from last game, but 6 innings pitched with a 2 earned run line there. 1.17 whip, only 3 Ks, but we will still take the win. He has barely had any good games this season. So I'm going to lean towards the Marlins at -125 on the money line. And then in terms of a total, it looks like we're expecting a little bit of weather, but obviously that's a stadium that can be closed. I do think I lean towards the over 7.5 here. I don't love it, so I'm probably not going to make a final play on the over. If anything, the final play chance here would probably be Marlins on the money line. Next game up is the Tigers hosting the Rangers. This one's really weird to me, guys. My immediate reaction was, okay, Martin Perez on the mound for the Rangers, 6-1, 3.83 ERA, and a Rangers team that beat the Tigers yesterday 5-0. They are just the clear-cut better team, and the money line is only -134. It opened closer to -150, so it's becoming even more appetizing if you are on the Ranger side of things to bet. So I'm kind of reading this line saying, okay, something's fishy here. Does not really line up. Vegas almost is trying to get you to bet the Rangers because they are the clear-cut better team. They have the clear-cut better pitcher today, and yet their line is moving in the direction that you would assume, everyone's on the Tigers, which 68% of the bets right now are on the Rangers money line. So I like the Rangers here, but I'm reading this line saying, okay, something is off here for sure, and it's probably going to make me stay away from this game. If Texas was getting all this attention at they opened up at, what do we have here? I have it in my notes. They opened it up at -147, and they get 68% of the bets, right? And the odds drop to -134. Like, what? Usually, if they're getting more bets like that, it would move up to -150, -152, that type of thing. No. Something is off here. So beware if you are going to be a Texas bettor today. Vegas seems like they're trying to entice people to bet the Rangers, but I still do think of the better team and the better pitcher. Facts are facts. Those 2 things are facts. So the only thing that may keep me off this game is going to be the fact that we're seeing the line move like that, because if you ask me Texas versus Tigers, Texas -134, I would say all day long I'm hammering that. So, to be determined if that's a final play, but I do still lean in that direction. 8.5 is going to be the total here, and I like the over because if we are going to read that much into the line, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but if we're reading that much into the line, and I think the Rangers are going to come out there and at least score, 4 or 5 runs, and Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game, obviously, based on the odds that they're throwing at the money line there. I think the Tigers, they're expecting the Tigers to score a decent amount of runs too, so I'm going to lean towards the over 8.5 in this one. All right, Orioles taking on the Guardians. Yesterday, Cleveland wins this one 5-0, which is a little surprising there. Gibson on the mound for the Orioles today, 6-3 with a 3.82 ERA. Quantrill on the mound for the Guardians, 2-3 with a 4.75. I think you're getting some decent odds over at FanDuel right now, -145 if you're looking at the Baltimore side of things, which I think we are going to do. This line has been anywhere around -150. I think it opened at -156. I think a decent amount of bets came in on the Guardians and kind of switched things up here. So I'm going to lean towards the offense that I definitely think is better here. I'm going to lean towards the Orioles, and I also like the over 8.5. Now, neither team has been covering this. In fact, the Guardians in games that they've been in with their opponent have not hit over 8.5 in 8 straight games, and the Orioles haven't done it in 4 of their last 5. But I think the kind of tops come off the lid lids come off the basketball term, in today's game. And I do think that Baltimore starts to put up a few more runs because they've been cold. This is a really good offense. Been their last 5 games, or last 6 games actually. 3-2, 3-3, and 0. I think that actually might have been 5 games. I was right originally. So I do think that, we're kind of banking on, them kind of unleashing today, which we shall see. But nonetheless, I do like Baltimore on the money line as well. All right, Blue Jays, Brewers. Kachichi on the mound for the Blue Jays, 5-2, 4.65 ERA. Adrian Hauser on the mound for the Brewers, 1-0 with a 2.25 ERA. Milwaukee coming off of losing 3 of 4 against San Francisco. That being said, they did get the last win, looking decent winning that game 7-5. Toronto taking 2 of 3 against Minnesota. I'll give them props where it's due. Yes, they were favorites in both the games that they ended up winning, but that Minnesota team is not going to be a team to beat easily. They're coming off of the series before that, losing 2 of 3 against a really good Tampa Bay team. So this Toronto team is wavering right in place right now. It's kind of tough to predict what they're going to do. I do think Milwaukee at plus 135 is the value play here. I don't really entertain the Toronto minus 155 on the money line. They could easily go up there and drop this game. I wish the Brewers are home and Toronto was away, just to kind of make things a little bit more, weighted towards our side. But nonetheless, I do still think the value is going to be on the Brewer side of things. In terms of total, 9.5 runs. I'll be honest, I went back and forth in this one. We've seen both these teams have high-scoring games and very low-scoring games as of late, so I don't have an official lean in this one. I've gone back and forth. If anything, I think that I slightly lean towards maybe a first 5 over, but not the over 9.5. So apologies there. I just do not have a total lean on this game. All right, the Mets are favorites. We don't have it in the graphic as we were screenshotting this earlier, but they are minus 130 favorites over on FanDuel as of right now. The total is at 8.5. Senga on the mound for the Mets, 4-3 with a 3.94 ERA. Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phillies, 0-1 with a 9.82 ERA. Not the best there, but Atlanta is coming off, splitting that series. Philly's coming off of splitting that series against Atlanta. The Mets, they've won 2 of their last 4, but lost their series against the Colorado Rockies here. Bad series, in my opinion. Bad series. I'm going to lean towards the home team, the Mets, minus 130. I think they have the better pitcher slightly. Then I'm also going to look at the over, but this is not really a game in which I'm all that, excited for or anything like that, to be completely honest. But I do think that this is a good Mets spot. Senga hasn't been pitching well. He started the year fairly well, but I think 2 of his last 3 starts, or actually 3 straight starts, I think he's either lost or had no decision in. So I am going to, kind of bank on the fact that he bounces back a little bit going against Ranger Suarez, who just has not looked all that great to start the season. He's not pitching deep into the games, and he's letting up plenty of runs, so not a really good, not having the best outing there. So I lean the Mets, total 8.5 runs. Give me the over here. I think that this is probably some good value, close to even odds on most sportsbooks. Both these teams have done this in the majority of their last 10 games. The bats have started to heat up for the Mets, which is good to see. 10 runs, 5 runs, 7 runs, and 10 runs. Philadelphia, on the other hand, is kind of like a roller coaster, but if the Mets bats heat up and they score 7 runs, I think that they end up cashing this over, obviously. All right, Red Sox hosting the Reds in this one. Brian Bayo on the mound for the Red Sox, 3-2 with a 4.08 ERA. Ben Lively on the mound for the Reds. Yeah, 2.65 ERA, 2-2 on the season. Cincinnati sweeping the Cubs, and none of the games are close. 9-0. 8-5, 8-5. Boston taking 2 of 3 against Arizona. So all of a sudden you have 2 teams. Okay, maybe they're cooking up here. But Boston at minus 175, and actually more updated, minus 178 over on Caesars. As a Red Sox fan, I can't pull the trigger on the Red Sox that heavily favored. So I am going to lean towards Cincinnati. Plus 160 on FanDuel. Actually good value for a team that's playing some good baseball there. And then the total is at 10 runs. You have the Red Sox, a team that is absolutely trending towards unders. 9 unders hit compared to this line in their last 10, actually 9 straight. And whereas you have the Reds here who've hit this in 6 of their last 10. I think Brian Bayo can keep the Cincinnati offense down just a hair enough, and I think that the Red Sox offense has not, or Brian Bayo's keep this Reds offense down just enough, and the Red Sox have not been cooking with gas as of late. So I think this probably results in like a 4-2 win for the Reds or something like that. So I'm going to lean towards the Reds. I don't necessarily hate the Reds on the run line either. As favorites, the Red Sox in their last 7 games have only covered that minus 1.5 when favored in 6 of their last 7. So they're not the best run line team as of late either. All right, Cardinals taking on the Royals here. Cardinals, I hate to pay the juice, minus 180 right now, but I really don't like anything about this Royals team. Yes, they've won 2 straight. Whoop-de-doo. It was kind of shocking. They win, game 3 against Washington, and then they absolutely smashed the Cardinals 8-0, something like that yesterday, right? Very, very shocking. I think they're like plus 160 underdogs, which they are again today, but that type of thing doesn't happen twice in a row, does it? So I'm going to lean towards the Cardinals here, minus 180, way too big of odds to pay. I don't like the Cardinals all that much on the run line either. They're a bad run line team. I've not covered that in 6 straight here, and only for, around even odds on sportsbooks does not tickle my fancy there. So I'm going to lean towards the Cardinals, but it is probably just going to stay at the lean. I do like the under 9 runs, though. I think St. Louis comes out there and probably scores, 5-6 runs today, but Kansas City doesn't do what they did yesterday, scoring 7 runs now that I look at it, not 8 runs. So I do think that this is a good spot for an under. Cubs hosting Tampa Bay, and Cubs getting what was not really like in the card, like the type of game that would be in the cards for both these teams. Cubs winning 1-0 yesterday against this Tampa Bay team. Tampa Bay heavy favorites though on the road here at minus 190. Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs in his first start of the year. That is when we backed them. He didn't look all that great. 4 1/3 pitched, 3 earned runs, a 1.85 whip. He did have 5 strikeouts, but they lost that game 10-1. Now, it wasn't ultimately all his fault. The bullpen came in and surely blew up there, but nonetheless, Shane McClanahan on the mound for the Rays, which is why these odds are skewed in that direction. He's 8-0 with a 1.97 ERA. 8-0 with a 1.97 ERA. He is just absolutely dealing. Tampa Bay is going to be my lean here. It's probably going to only, come out to play if we're looking at some sort of a parlay or something like that. I would say I might take a peek at them on the run line. They haven't covered that in 3 straight games, and it's for, it's not for plus money, which, as you guys know, I do really, look for run line minus 1.5 and stuff when we're getting some sort of plus money value. So this is a tough one for me. What I do like, and I think this is such a low line because of yesterday, right? Sitting at 7.5 here. It was a 1-0 game yesterday. I think these offenses come out to play a little bit more now. There's a chance that McClanahan just shuts down this Cubs offense. But I think the Tampa Bay Rays, they'll come back and end up scoring a decent amount of runs here. When they scored, I believe, last time they scored 1 run was against Toronto when they lost 20-1, and they came back and scored 7 runs. So hopefully do something like that again today, because the Cubs must have at least 2 runs in them. And if the Tampa Bay can score 7 runs or 6 runs, and the Cubs can score 2 runs, we end up cashing that over. All right, Astros, Twins. Astros underdogs at home at plus 115 on the money line. Total sitting at 8 runs right now. Brandon Balick on the mound for the Astros, going up against Joe Ryan. You got to back the Twins in this spot. They've won 2 of their last 3 games here, and winning yesterday as well, 7-5. I just think that this is a good spot for the Minnesota Twins, coming off of losing, like we talked about when we covered the Toronto series here, coming off of losing 2 of 3 against Toronto. They showed they bounced back as underdogs, I believe, going into yesterday's game. Right? They win the game 7-5, and now they have a good pitcher on the mound here who, you just have to trust. He's won 2 of his last 3 games here. He's going deep in the game, 6 innings. I shouldn't say deep, but pitching around 6 innings, keeping that whip low as well, except for the last start. I do like him in this spot. And at minus 122, I think there's value as well. So I'm going to lean towards the Twins, and I also kind of take a peek at the under. Crazily enough, I do think the Twins go out there and score, a decent amount of runs. I don't think it's going to be a 7-5 game like it was yesterday, but I could see this being like a 5-2 type game, 4-3, around 7 runs there. So I'm gonna lean towards the under. All right, White Sox host the Angels here. Host the Angels here. White Sox coming off of catching an L yesterday. Angels winning that one 6-4 here. On the mound, though, for the White Sox today is Lucas Frozen Yogurt Giolato, 3-4 with a 3.98 ERA. Going up against Tyler Anderson, who is 2-0 with a 4.81 ERA. I've talked about it in videos before. I really don't trust him all that much. They're winning. They've won the last 3 starts that he's pitched in. He's pitching decently. There's no reason why I shouldn't like him, other than I feel like it's kind of a facade, I guess. A 2-1 record, the 4.81 ERA. Yes, he's pitching deep in the games, but he's usually letting up around 3 runs or so through those 6 innings, I guess. And his whip, can get up there closer to 2 in any given moment. The Angels are underdogs today, which is a little shocking to me that the White Sox would come in as such favorites. They've lost 3 straight games. They're not trending in the right direction. I don't necessarily get exactly why they are favorites, but I'm going to kind of trust where the money is. 67% of the money right now on the White Sox. I'm going to lean towards the White Sox money line. And then in terms of a total, I'm looking at the over 8.5. But ultimately kind of a weird line set and game for me today, but I do still like White Sox and the over. All right, Diamondbacks coming off of 2 straight wins are heavily favored in this game, minus 245 right now on most sports books. Colorado has still won 2 of their last 3 games, 3 of their last 5 games. They took 2 of 3 against the Mets, losing yesterday 7-5 against Arizona. I don't think there's any reason to consider Arizona here. They're not a minus 245 type team, so I guess by default I look at Kyle Freeland at 4-5 in the year with a 3.86 ERA and the Rockies to win this one. But even if this were to be a final play, I think it's going to be a half unit play. I don't love them going against Zach Gallen, who's having a good year himself. 2.97 ERA with a 6-2 record. I'm just kind of turned off by the minus 245 Diamondbacks line here. I don't think that they are that type of a team, and obviously Colorado isn't the best of teams, but still nonetheless it is a little weary to me. Then we're looking at a total of 8 runs. This is where I think there is some value in this game. A lot of sportsbooks actually have this at 8.5, and you can get it at 8 on FanDuel as of right now. You have 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing directly out to center field, 95 degrees today. So meteorologist Ev approves this as an over type ball game. So give me the over 8 there. That's probably what would end up being any sort of a final play in this game, as I don't really love the odds for either side. Yankees, Mariners, and I think this Yankees team is starting to heat up, at least on the offensive side of things. They've scored 10 runs in both of their last 2 games, I should say. 10-7 in their final game against San Diego, and then game 1 of this series, they win yesterday 10-4 here. On the mound for the Marlins is Logan Gilbert, 3-2 with a 3.6 ERA. Nestor Cortez, 5.3 ERA, 4-2 record. Yankees underdogs in this one. I think that's where the value is. Plus 130 right now. Actually, plus 125 is probably your best bet over on DraftKings. Opening up closer to that plus 130 mark. I think that this is interesting, just in the fact that, this Yankees offense is starting to cook, and no matter who they're going up against or anything like that, if this offense is going, they have some of the best bats in baseball, especially when they get healthy. They're going to have some of the best bats in baseball. So I'm looking at the Yankees in this one. They've won 3 straight, like I said. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. Seattle playing good baseball. I don't really want to take away from them. I'm saying that there's value in the Yankees being an underdog. I don't think the Yankees shouldn't be an underdog. I don't think they should be favored in this game. It makes a lot of sense why they are here and where they're at, but I think that the value is going to be the play on the Yankees. Then we're looking at the total 7.5 runs. How can I tell you guys that I love how this Yankees offense is cooking and then not look at the over? I do look at the over here as well. All right, the Oakland Athletics taking on the Atlanta Braves. Though they get the win yesterday, Oakland winning that one 7-2, they are making my job pretty easy this year because I really don't put all that much time into these Oakland games because the odds are just crazy. Like, yes, you could take the flyer on Oakland, but you're not going to look at the Braves at minus 245, maybe in some sort of a parlay, right? But I will say that, we get some comments sometimes of people coming to being like, no, there's some value in the A's today, and then all of a sudden they go out there and win. So shout out to you guys if you can sniff that out. I am not a fortune teller enough to be able to tell you when this Athletics team shows up and when they don't. But for the sake of going through the motions here, Sears on the mound for the Athletics, 0-3 with a 4.7 ERA. Bryce Elder on the mound for the Braves, 3-0 with a 2.01 ERA. Again, I look at the Braves here only in some sort of parlay. 8.5 is the total. I don't think that the Athletics do what they did yesterday, okay? That was the most runs they'd scored in like 12 games, 7 runs. The Braves have kind of been up and down in terms of how many runs they're scoring, so I'm going to look at the over, hoping that the A's can give me, say, 2 or 3 runs, okay? Sort of a minimal output performance, and then we can look at the Braves to score 6 runs or something like that. So I'm going to lean towards the over, but again, this game probably only result in some sort of a makeshift parlay with that Braves team. All right, San Francisco taking on the Pirates. But first, if you guys are still watching, go ahead and drop 18 in the comments. Let me know that you're still watching all the way deep into this video. I feel like it's getting corny and repetitive, but I swear to God, every time I talk about how much it means that, when I say 18 and you guys drop 18, and I'm like, how is there so many of you psycho lunatics still listening to this dumb voice 18 minutes into the video? It means the world. So guys, go ahead and drop 18 if you are still watching right now. Say 18 in the comments. Maybe it'll bring us some luck today as well. But let's go ahead and get to this. We got the Giants taking on the Pirates in this one. Giants heavily favored at minus 150. I know we don't have the odds on the screenshot there because we're recording this very early and took this screenshot early when the lines haven't necessarily come out, but we do have them now. So minus 150 on the money line for the Giants. Total sitting at 9 runs in this one. Brebby on the mound for the Giants today, and then Oviedo on the mound for the Pirates. This isn't my favorite of spots here. Now, San Francisco won this one yesterday 14-4. I think I'm going to lean towards the underdog, the Pirates. You guys know I have my gripes with the Pirates, but plus 130 is plus 130, so I'm going to lean towards that. In terms of a total 9 runs, I think Pittsburgh probably goes out there and scores, 5 runs today. And San Francisco, if I think Pittsburgh has a chance to win this game, San Francisco's going to have to score 6 to win this game. Maybe we kind of split there because, again, I don't think Pittsburgh's scoring more than that. I'm leaning Pittsburgh on the money line, but I'm also going to lean towards the over. Yes, they kind of, in my brain, now my brain does weird things, they kind of counter each other, but nonetheless, they were kind of playing both sides there. So I already told you guys, not my most favorite spot. I wouldn't say that it should be yours either unless you're a Giants fan or a Pirates fan, because this is not what I think is going to be that entertaining of a series. But I lean the over as well as the Pirates. All right, Dodgers taking on the Nationals. Tony Gonsolin on the mound for the Dodgers. He's got a 1.82 ERA, 2-1. He's been dealing. Jake Irvin on the mound for the Nationals, which he's 1-2 with a 5.32 ERA. I don't necessarily think that those numbers do him justice. He's had a couple bad starts, don't get me wrong, but I feel like maybe he's a little bit better than a 5.32 ERA. He isn't, if you do look at the numbers, you know what I mean? Like, he has that ERA for a reason. His whip is all over the place here. He's not pitching deep into games. He's had a tough matchup. I don't know why I'm becoming this defender of Jake Irvin. I really don't like him all that much, but I do think that 5.2 or 5.32 ERA is a little bit high for how he's been pitching. Maybe it's because I've watched him, live a couple times. But I think this is obviously a Dodgers spot here. The odds would say so as well. Minus 300, total sitting at 9 runs. I don't hate Dodgers on the run line, but minus 145 is still a big, odd to be paying as a run line favorite there. So maybe this is another sort of parlay piece. Total sitting at 9 runs as of right now. Yesterday's game, 6-1. LA gets the win, but they didn't, or the Washington didn't really come to play there. So maybe if the Dodgers go out there and score 6 runs again, but Washington can kind of step it up, maybe score 3-4 runs, we're looking at an over. But nonetheless, the odds are kind of priced appropriately here. This is a Dodgers spot, Dodgers series. They're a way better team with a better pitcher on the mound today. So I lean towards the Dodgers and then maybe slightly lean towards the over. And that is all I have for you guys today. If you are still watching, it would mean the world to me if you guys can go and check out Outlier. Use that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Start betting on sports smarter today, guys. An amazing app, 7-day free trial. We're getting a lot of good feedback in the comments for it as well. So shout out to the Outlier team for making it an awesome tool. Very, very, very good tool for player props. Really good tool for game picks and everything of the like. So make sure to go check that out, guys. And we'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.